can you tell me, a little bit about your experience with the IPEC program? Can you tell me a little bit more about why you initially joined the program, what that experience has been like since I've been onboarded?
So the main reason we joined the program was because we had a wicked problem that we were trying to solve, that we had no forecast improvements in that particular challenge, and that was our air quality challenge in particular around commercial cooking. So we felt we needed to do something different to tackle this problem, which gave us the motivation for kind of engaging with IPEC. One of the things around the onboarding is it was very thorough, but the importance of that was you are then ready to properly engage because you've got the stakeholders across the business engaged, like your procurement teams, and the teams that you're looking to support. So I think that onboarding process was quite valuable to just make sure you have all of the pieces aligned so that you're ready to hit the ground running with the program.
So that was through so we conducted the Internal Allies workshop, which looks at what stakeholders do you need to bring in at the start of the process to help support further down the line. Often these stakeholders are often sort of not introduced and then are then thrown a question at the very end where they can't respond in time and it delays the process and it eventually makes it not possible to sort of get something procured or innovatively.
Yeah, so the program encouraged you to engage procurement as part of your submission. So we did get to engage them kind of really early on, so it wasn't a surprise to them that we were kind of looking to go down this journey, and I think that was well received.
And can you tell me a little bit about the challenge, the problem that you were looking to address? So you took a very challenge-led approach. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so an exercise we did in Westminster is we looked at the makeup of our emissions from an air quality perspective, looking at particulate matter and nitrous oxide, and we looked at what were the key contributors to that and what was the trend over time and kind of forecasting to the future. Something that highlighted was we were making great progress in reducing kind of transport related emissions, but something that kind of really stood out is as emissions went down, commercial cooking stayed static. Obviously retail hospitality is a significant sector for the Westminster economy. We have huge numbers of restaurants, and there was no forecast reduction as well in that particular particulate matter. So that's why we felt we needed to tackle that particular problem, because it was increasingly taking up a greater proportion of Westminster's emissions.
And can you tell me about, so when you brought this problem to the IPEC program, how did you go about sort of looking at how innovation can help support and tackle this challenge, this problem?
So one of the exercises we found really helpful was when we engaged, I believe it was one of your service designers, where we had to look at the problem we had and what the world would be like after the solution, and we had looked at what is that aspirational future look. So what's the biggest thing that you could do to address the problem, but then what's the minimal thing that you can do to address the problem, and that really helped with kind of framing our problem statement, and it helped us provide real clarity that we can then articulate to the market.
Yes. Yeah.
And how has it been sort of transitioning to sort of more an outcome-based approach versus maybe what you I don't know if this is sort of what you've done in previous projects as well, or if this is maybe a new approach to.
So we have gone on a journey as a digital innovation service within Westminster, and we have naturally been transitioning away from your traditional requirements documents and things like that to focusing on outcomes. So it's not a huge kind of transition in mindset, but I guess having support from IPEC reinforces the value of taking that approach and helped us have some alternative tools, techniques, because it's never like a one size fits all when you're looking at problems. There are different tools and techniques you can use, and IPEC really helped to showcase some of those.
And where has the IPEC program been most impactful for you? What support has provided you with the most value?
Again, I think it was that workshop that brought together all of the different local authorities, where we worked through our problem statement, and we were asked quite insightful questions that's really important for us to answer to really bring clarity to our problem. And I think the other part is around the confidence that IPEC bring to our procurement teams. I think if we were to approach procurement on our own about this new approach, we wouldn't necessarily have the expertise and knowledge to answer all of their questions, but having IPEC engaged, I guess, gives confidence that we are following the procurement rules, we're not kind of bypassing through this approach. So I think that has been a really valuable exercise as well.
And with that confidence, is this the sort of approach that you're taking to other projects that you have in the council?
Yeah, so we have kind of user researchers, service designers, so we do kind of explore things from an outcomes perspective. So we go into things agnostic of the solution, and that's something that we want to take forward in future projects as well.
Can you tell me a little bit about the potential future challenges or barriers that you might have for innovation procurement? Where else could the IPEC program support in your journey?
So I think one of the main things that IPEC can do, but I'm not sure how this supports your kind of business model, but it's about how you can kind of leave a lasting legacy within local authority. So how can you provide them with the tools, techniques to undertake this journey themselves? Because I guess without full resources, you could act as a bottleneck. So how can local authorities kind of start undertaking this exercise themselves going forward?
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that? How does that work? Or like, are there other programs that you've been on that sort of provide that sort of agnostic, autonomous resource?
Yes, I think some of the things that would be quite helpful is so some of the workshop or exercises that were carried out, some of those materials could be shared as like a learning exercise for local authorities, and something we participate in, and it might have been one of your projects as well, but the Secure Connected Places playbook with the Cybersecurity Office. They developed kind of alpha materials that were tested and then refined, and that's something that local authorities can use when they're exploring connected places projects in the future. So it's something that they can look back on, and I guess success is a local authority is confident and comfortable with undertaking this journey themselves. So I guess success from Westminster's perspective is, yes, we want to solve the commercial cooking project problem, but we also want to test and trial innovative procurement so that we can use that to address other challenges that we might face.
And in terms of the specific barriers that you have currently to innovative procurement, are there any areas that you feel you would like to improve on more? And sort of,
I think one of the big challenges is it's new for people, for teams, where it can be quite uncomfortable to not be completely clear about what you're buying. So some of the contracts we have, it is really clear what we want, and there can sometimes be a tendency to set your requirements based on the system you currently have, not necessarily the system you need to solve your problems. So I think that's a particular challenge, is how do you shift that mindset to kind of procuring an outcome, not kind of just re-procuring what you have today.
So that sort of uncomfortableness of not knowing, can you tell me a little bit more about that? How's that sort of played out in the past? And
I mean, this is quite a new thing for me to do this. We've done kind of broader innovation challenges where we've framed some of our challenges at quite high level and invited people to kind of submit ideas. But I guess one of the benefits of this particular program is really honing in on a problem and kind of being really clear on the problem that you're trying to solve. And I think that approach has been really beneficial instead of casting the net really wide. I'd encourage other local authorities to participate in this programme. As part of the programme, you get access to procurement experts, but it's not any procurement experts, it's experts in procuring innovation and outcomes-based procurement. And one of the benefits is they can speak the language of your procurement teams and really smooth things over to get to a successful outcome.